Hi, it's Tony. If you do peer-to-peer fundraising, walks and rides, check out rallybound.com. They're good people. Really.
Welcome to Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio coverage of Fundraising Day 2013. We're at the Marriott Marquis Hotel in Times Square, New York, right in Midtown. And with me now to talk about cause marketing are Tricia Napor. She's Principal Manager with Alcoa Foundation, and Muneer Panjwani, Business Development Manager for DoSomething.org. Tricia, Muneer, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, Tony.
It's a pleasure. Pleasure. Nice and quiet here now. Some of the other recordings have not been this silent.
You got lucky.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So everybody will be very attentive to you. No background noise. Let's define this cause marketing and distinguish it maybe from sponsorships or some other things. Tricia, you want to start? What are we talking about?
Certainly. Well, I work at Alcoa Foundation, which is the charitable arm of Alcoa Incorporated, the aluminum company, which is mostly a business-to-business company. So we don't do a lot of marketing. The foundation does a lot of wonderful social programs, and when you look at the issue with this particular partnership with Do Something was focused on is recycling. And when you look at the abysmal recycling rates of aluminum in the U.S., you realize that there's an awareness problem, that people don't know about the importance of recycling and the amount of the impact on the environment that recycling has. So we started looking at, okay, how do we really increase awareness as well as access and incentives to this? And then I heard the CEO of Do Something speak and was blown away by the reach that they had with young people. And we really wanted to find a way to reach young people with this important message. So that's how this cause marketing campaign began.
All right. Muneer, why don't you explain what Do Something is? Let's get us started there so everybody's on the same page.
Great. So DoSomething.org is the largest organization for young people in social change. We create about 25 cause campaigns that young people care about. We have about 1.6 million young people that participate with us every single year. Our reach is actually close to 5 million people. And young people we define as anybody under the age of 25. So anybody over 25 is considered an old person, which would make all of us here an old person.
Okay, and that was going to be my question. And if viewers, listeners would like to know a little more about Do Something, I have had Arya Finger on, who's the COO. You'll find that video on YouTube, and you'll also find the podcast on my blog at tonymartignetti.com. She was talking about engaging people under 25, how to do it. What is cause marketing? Muneer, how do we distinguish this from other relationships we might have with the corporate side?
So a lot of corporate partnerships are often about, like slapping on a logo on a campaign, and that's usually where it stops. Cause marketing is specifically aligning a company's purpose and values to a cause that their constituency cares about, or a cause that the company's product or service actually impacts in some way. So we're a fast food industry talking about hunger in the country, or Alcoa Foundation, which is the largest producer of aluminum, talking about recycling makes sense. So partnering with a nonprofit organization that has the expertise and the ability to have a major impact in that space, and creating a partnership between the two organizations is what cause marketing is.
Okay, and that partnership can take lots of different forms.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, I see a lot of point of sale. I know that's not your relationship, but
not yet.
It could be. Oh, okay. I see. You have to be solicited. No, but point of sale or more causes like recycling, or could be anything. I mean, this is a very broad topic, right?
Oh yeah, it's incredibly broad, and I think what's happening now is that the space is becoming increasingly competitive. So every single company wants to do a cause marketing campaign, which is great for the nonprofits and it's great for the world. However, nobody's trying to be bold yet, right? So there are very few cause marketing campaigns that are bold enough that they stand out from the crowd. So the challenge, the concern for a lot of nonprofits is what big ideas do we have to separate ourselves from all the other ones.
And suppose we are a local organization, doesn't have the reach of Do Something, 5 million constituents paying attention. What can that smaller to mid-sized shop offer?
The one thing I would advise them on is find out what your unique identity is, right? What's your unique asset? So what's one thing that you bring to the table that nobody else can? And it could just be an idea. It could be an expertise in a space. It could be a service. It could be stories. It could be something specific that nobody else can offer that is valuable to the corporation.
And I would add, I know that this is about cause marketing, but I think from a corporate perspective, if you're looking for corporate donors, you do have to take it beyond the marketing, and that's something that Do Something does really well. well is that they actually have significant impact. So in addition to getting the word out there and the millions of people who are listening to what Do Something is saying, they also had 50,000 youth actually go and recycle 50 cans for this campaign, and then we can measure that and say the results of this program were this on the environment, and this many youth actually participated in the program. So for a smaller nonprofit that's looking at cause marketing, to also look beyond just getting the message out, but is there a way that you can quantify the results and the impact of your programs on the community or on the environment?
Okay, and I'd say within the past 4 years or so, we've been hearing a lot more about 4 to 5 years, a lot more about impact measurements. We need to quantify our outcomes and not just say it's good work, but prove it.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Tricia, so now how about for the smaller shop? I mean, does it make sense for a smaller, mid-sized nonprofit to approach a company like Alcoa, or should they more have their sights set on something smaller, maybe more local to their community? What do you think?
Well, I think it does make sense to approach a company in your local community. So, for example, Alcoa Foundation, we're an endowed foundation. We have a budget of about $25 million every year, but we take half of our budget and give it to our local offices all around the world.
Okay.
So they have budgets that range on the amount of employees that are at that location. They might range from $30,000 to $300,000 a year that they give to local nonprofit partners. And if a local nonprofit partner in one of our facilities in Iowa or California went to them and said we could do a really great cause marketing campaign that would also have significant impacts, then definitely our local people would probably want to know more and potentially fund that partner.
Okay, and are you able to speak to what those local companies or offices would be looking for?
Yeah, well, specifically with Alcoa Foundation, we're focused on education and environment. Those are our two key themes that align very much with our business. And so under, in the environment, we look at projects that reduce the use of natural resources and reduce waste, that recycle, primarily aluminum, and that also replenish. So a lot of different tree planting and biodiversity programs. And then on the education side, we're very much focused on STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and math. I'm sure your constituents know what that is, but
well, maybe not.
some don't.
I don't have jargon jail on the show, so if you hadn't defined it, I would have put you in jargon jail.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then
you're quickly paroled.
We also look at a lot of workforce development, specifically around manufacturing.
Okay. And more generally, it sounds like, I mean, the advice would be find a company that aligns with your work.
Exactly. Find a company, like Muneer said, find what your unique offerings are, do your research, find what the companies in your local area are focused on, check online to see what other kinds of partnerships they have, and then come in prepared and to have a good conversation.
Okay. Let's talk about that preparation. Muneer, how do you make that first contact once you've found some good prospects?
Stalking them. That's the first step. Like, stalk them on Twitter,
stalk them online.
Google them, watch their videos, learn about the company as much as you can, learn about the other partnerships that they've made and the success they've had and the failures that they've had. So oftentimes you will look at a company that'll say, we had 3,000 people like our Facebook page, and we'll say, well, what's the impact of that, right? And they might not have an answer to that. So when I send an email out, I'll say, you had 3,000 people like your Facebook page. What was the impact? I would love to know what the impact was. And if you don't have one, we'd love to talk to you about how we can increase that number, not just the number, but actually the engagement number, right? So, at the partnership with Alcoa came about after Nancy, our CEO, spoke at a conference last year. And the conversation was literally, Tricia reached out to us saying, we loved her speech. We want to partner. Seems like you guys do it right. You guys know what you're doing, and you're the experts in your space. And the brand is really, really exciting and engaging. And they were trying to reach a youth market also.
Yeah. Well, let's continue that thread, because it's not just enough to be on social media and to tout numbers. Those are sort of vanity metrics.
Absolutely.
The number of likes, number of followers, the number of connections on LinkedIn. I had a guest earlier talking about LinkedIn and the corporate pages. What does DoSomething.org do around LinkedIn?
Well, the first thing is the founder of LinkedIn is on our board, so we sometimes have to be.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Reid Hoffman's on our board.
Okay.
And he's fantastic. He's been a huge support. But from our organization perspective, we have a page on it, and we usually post a lot of the things that are useful for prospective employees. So anybody that's looking for internship or a job on the site is there. The information is there. The other thing is Nancy serves as one of the writers. So she has, I think, close to 25,000 followers.
Your CEO,
our
Nancy.
CEO. Yeah. So she's always writing pretty sort of engaging and fun articles about the Do Something culture, but also how to advise other smaller nonprofits on how to do it right. So some of the learnings that we've learned, she's very willing to share that in a very fun and sort of an uncensored way a lot of times.
Tricia, I think there's going to be great value if you can share what the Alcoa Foundation might have done in its research before it approached Do Something. So heard Nancy speak, very engaging, sounded at a threshold level appropriate.
Right.
What's the next step before you actually spoke to them?
Well, so Alcoa Foundation's been around for 61 years, so we just have a lot of experience in working with different nonprofits. I had heard of DoSomething.org previously, and some of my colleagues had actually gone to their fundraiser the year before and said, this organization is really fun. They actually had their fundraiser this year 2 nights ago, and we went back, and it is really fun. It's kind of unlike any other organization, especially just because they're so focused on youth that culture pervades everything that they do. So I had heard really good things about it. And then when I heard Nancy speak, the thing that she said that really stuck out in my mind, in addition to her colorful language, which you don't often hear at these conferences that we attend, is that the nonprofit and corporate partnerships, it's a true partnership, that the nonprofit is not a vendor, but they're a partner, and that as Do Something, they have a lot of assets, they have a lot of expertise, they have a huge constituent group, and they're bringing that to the table, and what is the corporation bringing to the table, and what are the unique needs and assets of both groups. And I love it when nonprofits think that way, when they don't see themselves as a vendor, but as a true partner, and that they can enhance what we're trying to do on education and the environment. So hearing that and hearing their philosophy was pretty much enough. But of course, we do our homework, and we check Charity Navigator and GuideStar and things of that nature.
It's important for charities to hear.
To make sure that they're a legitimate group. And then actually our grant application process is pretty thorough, and they have to supply a lot of different information to show they're financially stable, and they have to share with us the list of people on their board of directors and things of that nature, so that we can verify that they're not affiliated with any terrorist groups and things like that. So we do our homework.
So before this relationship was closed, they had to do a grant application?
Yes.
Even though this was not a grant relationship?
This was a grant relationship.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. All right. Does it go any further? Is there any employee engagement?
Definitely.
Okay.
We work everything that we look at, can we get our employees engaged? So the website that Do Something put up for us on 50 cans that had a lot of information about the benefits of recycling. I worked with our chief sustainability officer and our other experts in-house at Alcoa on recycling, on getting some really fun stats for people, so the youth could go and see, oh wow, when I recycle, it saves this much energy, or if I recycle this many cans, I save enough energy to fly to Cancun for spring break and things like that. And we all worked together on that. That was fun. And then we sent a note out to all of our employees saying, if you have kids at this age group, tell them to participate. And a bunch of them did, because there was a $5,000 scholarship prize. Didn't end up going to one of our employees' children, which was good. We want to spread the wealth. But we did hear that a couple of our employees encouraged their children to apply, and they were getting really into it and looking up where the different recycling facilities were in their towns and things like that.
Okay, so yes, it definitely went much deeper than the money.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It always does for us. We look at the grant, and we want to have the results, but we really want to be engaged and share our expertise as they are with us.
Yeah. And Muneer, why don't you? Yeah, it sounds like you want to say more about that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just going back to the part about partnerships. I think Do Something, has a very specific philosophy on partnership, which is that our partners have to be fun. They just have to know how to have fun, because we know that partnerships are not between organizations; they're between people, right? So just like hanging out with Tricia on the other night was really, really fun. And Nancy, our CEO, has always said, if you make any of our staff members cry, we'll cut off the relationship. That's it. That's the end of it. And I think that speaks really loudly to how a lot of nonprofits don't work, which is they'll bend over backwards to do whatever they can, even if their employees are unhappy, even if the project's not going so well, or to make sure that they get the money, which is not the right way to go, because the partnerships will end as soon as that program ends, right? And we want to make sure that our partnerships go on for as long as possible. And for that to happen, the first thing that needs to happen is there needs to be an honest conversation on the table about what exactly we're looking for. There needs to be goal setting that are realistic goals are in place, and we both understand that we can actually reach them and have our assets in place on the table. I'm not saying that Alcoa is giving us money and we'll just take the money and do what we want with it, but really engaging Alcoa into the conversation about, well, what else can you bring to the table? And lastly, communicating with them continuously throughout the campaign about the progress of the campaign. So there were a couple challenges challenges in the middle of the campaign where we weren't hitting the numbers because we weren't getting the report backs from the young people. So we said that to Tricia and Suzanne, her colleague, about what was going on, and they were very honest about it. They were like, well, let's think about other ways to engage our audience even more. And we pivoted just a little bit, but put together new strategies and ended up getting 1.3 million cans collected in about 11 weeks.
Oh, that was the whole campaign?
That was the whole campaign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I see the nature of a true partnership.
Yeah.
Sharing the fact that we're not meeting targets, and let's collaborate about how we can make that change.
And the other thing that was helpful from my point of view is I was looking for innovative recycling projects, and they came in and they had their template. This is who we are. This is how we run campaigns. We send out this many text messages, this many emails. We set up the website, and then we just kind of, to some degree, plug and play the recycling messages into what we already do, and we can show you the success that these campaigns have had on other subject areas. And so it was not like reinventing the wheel, although it felt so specific to us, and they really did hear what we were saying were our main goals of the campaign, and we far exceeded, I think, we exceeded Alcoa Foundation's goals, and I think we even exceeded Do Something's goals, so it was a success for sure.
Part of your seminar topic is avoiding some of the possible negative consequences. I know, Muneer, you mentioned communication being critical. What other ways might we avoid problems in these cause marketing relationships?
I think transparency in every single way. So transparency in any of the challenges that we're facing, transparency in asking for help when we need it. So when when Alcoa wanted to engage the employees, they said we need to engage our employees, and we need to make sure that this campaign is open to the kids of our employees. And we said, okay, that's great. So here's the messaging that you can send out to your employees that they can pass on to their kids to get them involved in the campaign. So I would say transparency is one of the biggest ones, because the initial reaction for anybody that's in trouble is to hide the fact that something is wrong, right? And we are always honest, because honesty breeds more honesty, and honesty builds good relationships. That's why I think that's one of the reasons why most of our sponsors keep coming back to work with us. It's because we never tell them something that they just want to hear. We tell them what's the truth.
And I would say also with some cause marketing campaigns, you could have something occur that might look like greenwashing, or might look like, oh, we're just marketing something. And what was successful about this campaign was we had a lot of stats and a lot of data from Alcoa about the importance of recycling. And we know a lot of people have heard, oh, you should recycle. But I think that we framed the message in a really compelling way, and Do Something worked with us, holding our hands saying, okay, that message is appealing, but to appeal to this age group, you could just tweak it like this, and then people would really like it. So they helped us with our language and things of that nature. And I think for successful cause marketing campaigns, you want to make sure that the cause is clear and that the impacts of what you're trying to get people to do is clear. Okay.
Muneer, you mentioned goal setting. Mm-hmm. You do that, I'm sure, as a collaboration. Both there has to be it's a two-way street, right? Both sides need to benefit. What was the main benefit for Do Something, or some of the benefits?
Do Something literally lives on data. We have 2 chief data people on staff, so all they do is crunch numbers to figure out, one, what causes young people care about, and what campaigns we should be planning, and number 2 is measuring the impact of our campaigns. So like you said, cause marketing campaigns usually are really hard to measure, and they're usually measured in just media impressions, right? We got 100 million media impressions, but that's about it. But what about the number of people that you reach that actually took action via this campaign? So we have a very sophisticated tracking mechanism with our members. So every time somebody signs up on our website or signs up via mobile, we can track that. Every time somebody reports back, we can track that. And because we have their cell phone numbers, we can track the locations where they're at, their age group, the high school that they go to, their demographics. All that data is we have. So we can, at the end of the campaign, we can figure out exactly who participated in the campaign, which is incredibly useful for any corporate partner. And we also know that like numbers tend to numb and stories tend to stick. So though numbers can be huge, we always find 1 or 2 stories that are really meaningful and impactful to share, to sort of to make the numbers more colorful. Right.
Underlying Muneer's discussion was spinning of the wheel in the adjacent booth. So for listeners or even watching video, you're not seeing this wheel spin, but there's a company that will let you spin the wheel and take a chance at winning a mug, t-shirt, cap, or an iPad mini drawing entry. So that's what you were hearing. Let's see. Tricia, let's leave. We just have like a minute and a half or so left. Let's leave small and mid-sized nonprofits with the first step really to engaging in this kind of relationship with a company? What should they be thinking about first?
I would go back to what Muneer said and know what it is that you do that is unique, and look at who your audience is and who your constituents are that you have access to, and then really clarify that. Say, these are the people who are following us on Twitter, and we have this many Facebook people, and we have this many people that we can reach who read our newsletters, etc. So if you work with us on this cause marketing campaign, this is how many people you would reach. And then also be sure that there's something. What's great about this is that do something. If people recycled 50 cans, then they went online and they said, I recycled 50 cans, and they got put in a lottery to win a $5,000 scholarship. So that data that he was just talking about, we can actually say 51,000 youth recycled 1.3 million cans, and that is something that the corporations really do want. They really do want those metrics.
Okay, excellent. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
My pleasure. Tricia Napor is Principal Manager for the Alcoa Foundation, and Muneer Panjwani is Business Development Manager for DoSomething.org. Thanks again. It's Tony Martignetti coverage of Fundraising Day 2013. Thank you very much for being with us.